stoke that fire again. You have something to say, Norm?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
So you don't do it too early because now you also have to start filing reports.
Yes, and once you, yes. The state party has a region's director that their job is to support the local groups, whether they're affiliates or just social groups at this point. We don't have one right now because it was Daniel Lutz, and he did a great job, but Daniel had some family issues and had to step down. So we've been without one for the last 2 months. Tomorrow's the election for a new regions director, and I believe one of our candidates is sitting here in this room right now, Steve Gallant. And Steve's been with the Colorado Libertarian Party for many, many, many years. And so he knows the ropes. So if you guys are just getting ready to start the local group, call our regional representative. I believe that will probably be Steve because he's well known and well liked in our world. I don't know how you are in your world, but in our world we like you. But reach out to the state party. Get the state party's help. Now, once you start getting some meetings, we have a requirement of all of our board members that they have to go to at least one meeting per year. Most try to go to 2 or 3 meetings a year. Michael Stapleton, he comes to our meetings at least once a year, and I know you go to El Paso a couple times a year at least. Mike goes to all meetings. John Hirschman, he's been to our meetings many times. And of course, you're the treasurer down in El Paso, aren't you still? Okay. By the way, guys, El Paso is the biggest affiliate that we have in the state. They have stuck with it better than just about anybody else. And they're doing a great job. So if you guys are thinking about starting a group, I would encourage you to go to all the meetings. See what some of the other groups are doing. If they're being successful, if they have a decent turnout, and you can't always measure it because you don't always have a perfect turnout. But if they're typically getting more than 10 people, they're doing things right. But go to their meetings, see what they're doing, copy them. I mean, we don't believe in intellectual property, do we? I think that was part of our... So anyhow, the state is here to help you, not only from the local level as a social group, but also when you're ready to become affiliate. And once you are in place, we already have a Facebook page created for all the counties. Our region's representative will help you get hooked up and make you an admin on that site. Now, you started doing some Facebook stuff, but you kind of fizzled a little bit.
Well, I had 2 other people who were supposed to help me. I haven't heard from him in a year.
Okay.
And one of those was doing the Facebook. And I haven't checked to see whether he's keeping up on it or not.
Okay. Guys, if you aren't consistent, your effectiveness just went out the door.
Right.
It's like a retailer that advertises once a year. It doesn't happen. People have to see your name 7 times in a row before they even remember it. So you have to hit it regularly with the advertising, whether it is Facebook posts, whether it's that little ad in the club section of your local newspaper. Now, you guys from Elbert County, right now there is not a group in Elbert County. No. You're not far from where Douglas County meets, so if you ever want to come by, please come by and join us. We'd love to have you. We always do a meetup ad as well. Meetup is a wonderful opportunity. I used to put ads in Craigslist as well. Had some success with that, but frankly, I lost my enthusiasm and I stopped doing it because we were having better success from the other sources. But when you're starting a group, you got to plaster your name everywhere. If there's a library in your town that has a bulletin board, pin up a flyer for your meetings. And then go back every week and make sure that there's no Democrat tore it down.
Coffee shops are a good place to tack them up too if they have a bulletin.
Absolutely, anywhere. Once again, it's just getting your name out in front of people and then being tenacious to follow up with the people when you do meet them. And it's not, one of the things that I found was a real good tool for us is I always ask the folks at our meetings, not always, but most of the time, I always ask them, why did you come today? Why are you here? And they'll tell me. Great, what would you like to see us talk about next month when you come to see us the next Thursday? We'd love their input. Boy, I tell you what, if they give you a suggestion on what they want to hear you talk about, they're coming. Because you're going to call them on the phone and insist.
And they're going to organize the speaker.
Yeah. But those are the basics. Go ahead.
When the time comes to affiliate, what's the first step that a county needs to
The state party has a playbook for you that's available to anybody when you're ready. Just reach out to the regions director and they'll get it in your hands. Yep. It's kind of a cheat sheet, about a 15-page cheat sheet. Mark?
Correct me if I'm wrong, but if you're collecting cash and running through the state party, let's say you pass the hat at one of your social meetings. If I'm understanding state law correctly, you actually have to have a donation form that each person that gives money into that hat.
I'm going to defer that to the state treasurer who is sitting in this room. John, would you answer that question, please?
Do we not have to have an individual behind every contribution?
If it is, if their total annual contribution is $20 or more, yes.
That person's, not the entity, not the group. That person that gave, yes.
So, yeah, it's best to get, like if you have a sign-up sheet, it's good to have the donation right on the sign-up sheet. That way you got your information and how much they contribute, that's the simplest part.
And if they give more than $20, you have to have their employer in their occupation.
That's not,
Is it $100 now?
it's $100 one
Okay.
time. The $20 is annual, so basically you need
Okay.
to name and address everybody. It's-
What about their occupation and employer?
If they give a one-time donation of $100.
Only if $100, okay.
Occupation and employer.
Okay.
What do you do if you just have a basket there and everyone's left and it's impossible to figure out where all the cash came from?
That's considered a fish bowl, and, I just handed a fish bowl for this event, and,
Is that a legal state term, fishbowl?
Until we start generating enough income that we're going to be in trouble if we get caught.
the Secretary of State does use it.
Wow.
Yeah, I wouldn't sweat it at this point, Mark. We don't.
If you go and look through that fish bowl with $200,000 in there, give them a call and we'll work our way through that.
Yeah, we had that happen to us. We did a Festivus, Douglas County, we did a Festivus, the 23rd, I think it was the 23rd of December. And the state party was, our outreach director had too many other obligations with his job, so he couldn't do it. So I did it as the party of Douglas County, and we raised $370 in one party.
Was that before or after the airing of grievances?
That was per area in grievance, which is what we're going to do tonight.
Auctioning off airing of grievances?
Yes, tonight. We have a gong, and we have a microphone, and anybody can come up and air their grievances with the state. $10 per bitch. And like I said, if you get out of line, we have a gong.
Do you have anybody who knows how to use that gong?
Well, I'm hoping the guy that rented it to us taught us how. I wasn't involved in that.
If not, I'm a questionist.
Yeah. Okay, let's open up for questions and answers here.
I kind of have a suggestion.
Sure.
One of the parts of my background that I didn't really mention was I was membership director in Virginia for the better part of 20 years. And one of the reasons that Virginia is now twice the size of Colorado is because...
You're kind of snooty, aren't you, Mark?
Yeah, I know. It's a challenge.
Yeah, I know.
One of the things that myself and several other of my helpers did was when we attended meetings, we always, when the speaker was speaking, we would look at our sign-in sheet and find people on the database to find who was or was not a state party member or a national party member or both. And whichever one they needed to join, we would fill out the form for them and then stick it in front of them while the speaker was still speaking. And
But that was effective.
me and the 2 or 3 other guys that were doing this, and Cal was doing it too, we typically left meetings with anywhere from half a dozen to 20 or 25 memberships. My record was like 28 memberships at one convention.
Wow. Amazing.
And just from...
We've never
checking
duplicated that,
memberships.
guys. Not even close. We do the T-shirts and the national membership drives, but the most we ever got in one meeting was 7. So that's good.
I'm fully exposing my naivete here. I registered as a libertarian
Okay?
And then about 2-3 months ago, I saw the Facebook ad that had that T-shirt, and it's like, you'll join National for $25. We'll send you a T-shirt.
Yeah.
So,
So you just wanted the T-shirt.
but well, and
I got it.
kind of participation. But if I'm a national member, do I need to be a state member as well, or how does that?
There is no state membership in the state of Colorado. Other states have membership, and a lot of other states charge a yearly fee to belong to your state membership, to be a member. Colorado does not have that, and that's, if you read the chair's article in our program, I referred to that. Colorado does not have state dues. We are totally dependent upon voluntary contributions. That's why we ask for money.
Really loud, that, did you get that last part? Slowly.
Yeah.
All staying steady.
Yeah. But to answer your question, because there's no state dues, that's one of the reasons why we ask for so much money at events like this. That's why the local affiliates ask for money when you go to one of the local meetings. We always pass an empty beer pitcher around. Hopefully a dry one so the money doesn't stick, yeah. But we always ask for money. The reality is, guys, if you're going to have a booth at a local gun show, or if you're going to participate in a parade, or you're going to run ads, you have to have money. You can't do that unless you're willing to fund it yourself out of your pocket. You're going to have to ask people to contribute. And you can't be afraid to ask people for money. And that's really important. That's the key to the whole thing. You got to get that money coming in so you can do that advertising. Luckily, Facebook is free, unless you want to boost your ad, which we do on occasion. If we have a special event or a special speaker, or if we have a special thing coming up that we want to promote, then we'll boost our ad. I'll throw $50 into it, and we'll just blast it through all Douglas County. And with Facebook, you can target market. You can target market only adults between 30 and 40, or between 21 and 30, or whatever the demographic is that you choose. You can pick homeowners. You can
Big party affiliation.
You can pick party affiliation. Yes, you can.
And you also do it geographically too, like within a 5 or 10 mile radius of the.
Yeah, you could do a radius, you could do a county or a zip code. You can do it in a lot of different ways. So you can target your blasts. It doesn't just go to your friend list. It goes to everybody. And that's, frankly, that's been a very strong working tool in my mind. Another thing that I would encourage you guys to do, if you're not already on Nextdoor, get on Nextdoor. Hey, went to a great meeting last night. The Douglas County Libertarian Party had a great meeting, and they were talking about rights, and I never really understood it, but I'm going to go. I think they have a meeting on the first Thursday. You can't do it yourself because they'll kick you out, but you have to do it as a third party. I went to this meeting. If you try to promote your meeting yourself, you're going to get kicked out. It's against their rules. But you can certainly do it yourself and say, hey, I went to a meeting and I had a great time. Nextdoor is a wonderful tool. Frankly, as far as I'm concerned, it gets you more exposure than Craigslist will. And with Craigslist, you can't do, at this point it's free, but I guess they're making some changes on some of the club advertising you can do on Craigslist. But Nextdoor is free, Facebook's free, the local newspaper typically is free, depending upon where you live. I mean, every area is a little bit different. But call your local newspaper, find out what they offer. The weekly ones are the ones you want, not the daily ones. The daily ones are going to stick it to you for the cost of an ad. The weekly papers are the best ones, in my opinion.
Is there a way you could get that video that Karen Ann made for social media out to everybody? Is there a word, you know what I'm talking about?
Is it on the state website?
It's an amazing video. She made, so I'm an admin on the Colorado page, and that was one of the things she wanted
Okay,
me to watch. It's incredible.
Yeah, I know. She's done like 500 of them. So
It's the one that's.
It's the Region 5 one.
Yeah.
It's the Region 5. She made it for social media in region, for all the Region 5.
Yeah, yeah.
people. But what it does is it shows you how to schedule posts, and so you're, doing all
Yes.
the things that you don't have to do it. You don't have to be.
All you have to do is reach out to the communications director. Karen will not be communications director as of tomorrow. She's resigning her position because she's running for the National Party secretary position. And we'll see how that goes. Hope she wins. She's got some stiff competition. So, but she's hitting it real hard, and she's using social media to its fullest extent. But yes, that file will be in the communication director file. So whoever is a communications director, I believe probably Steve, he'll have it in his folder and he can send it forward. Oh, I meant regions, forgive me.
Why not?
Yeah, I meant regions.
It might be me, so you could just get a hold of me.
Yeah, was that a pre-election endorsement that you just did?
Was it?
Is that legal?
Actually, Lance, I believe Lance from Boulder is going to be running for the communications director position, and he's been doing a lot of the communications work as an assistant to Karen for the last year and a half. And he's doing a fantastic job, and I think he's going to step up and ask for that nomination. We'll see.
I was
Steve?
just gonna throw in two things, just to bolster what you're saying about definitely put out the pitcher or the coffee can, because I would, I try to remember to do it every time, because you can get $25, people just,
Yeah.
somebody puts some money in, everybody's like,
Well, you got to be like a musician and prime it yourself,
yeah, exactly.
and let them see you prime it. I'll start this and pull out $5 or $10 out of your wall and put it in there.
Usually if you pull out a 20, somebody else is gonna,
Yeah.
most other people are gonna do it too.
Yeah, the more you put in, the more people are going to feel guilty if they don't belly up.
Take your 20 out at the end. The other thing I was gonna suggest is a campaign issue or a candidate, like this local issue, ballot issue, something like that.
Yeah.
Those are really good things to organize around. Now, the tricky part is you gotta keep that going after that issue, or, like you said, the consistency afterwards. But that's one way to get things kind of rolling,
Yeah. The hardest work is the first year. It really is. If you're starting a new group, the hardest work is the first year. It's a bitch. And you can't let yourself get discouraged if you don't have good turnout.
Oh, good.
Because
I
there's
see
going
the first year.
to, if it lasts for more than a year, then you can probably get discouraged and think you got to regroup. So, and then go back to some of the basics, and then make sure you hit all those basics. And frankly, it takes a lot of time to do those things. If you try to do it all yourself, you're going to burn out. You really need to get the involvement of other people and, get them to help. Mike?
When you do have new members show up, that are not registered libertarians with the Secretary of State, encourage them to register as libertarians as soon as possible. Because it has, in many local districts and statewide districts, there are different organizations. They use the number of registered libertarians to allow our candidates in debates. And if we don't meet specific thresholds, these organizations, in my community, there's, I believe it's Action 22, there's one on the Western Slope. If you don't meet that specific threshold with percent of registered party-affiliated voters in Colorado, your candidate will not get in that debate. We did that last year on the election side with a statewide candidate. We were short 30 voters
Yeah.
from getting Lily into a debate. That organization said, if you can meet that threshold by the time the debate comes around, we will let you in the debate. We were.
We got it.
We got it.
Yeah.
But it's not only, we tried to do the same thing locally in Pueblo to get one of our candidates in the debate, and we weren't even close. We were hundreds off. We scrambled to try to get it, but we couldn't get it there at the time.
Joe?
There's more reasons for doing that as well, from a sales perspective. There's a psychological thing of once I've committed to change my registration, I now want other people to do the same thing, get the buy-in. When you sell real estate, what's the best time to get a referral?
Right after, when the people are excited.
Before the ink is dry.
Yep.
Before the ink is dry,
Yep.
they want to get somebody else in to make themselves feel better about the commitment they just made. I mean, we used to run the gun shows and did like 50 or so of them every weekend. We're doing the gun shows. Person took the world's smallest political quiz. If they landed down in this quadrant, they got a registration form stuck in their face. Like, well, I'm not sure I'm ready to change my registration. Listen, you can vote for whoever you want. All this does is it tells the state that you're not a Republican, you're not a Democrat. You're perfectly capable of thinking on your own and giving us an opportunity to be on the stage. Suddenly they fill that out.
Yeah, there's another step, Joe.
Membership form that went in front of their face.
Let's expand on that just a little bit. Guys, when somebody is a registered independent, which makes up for more than the Democrats or the Republicans, what are they telling the Republicans and Democrats?
I'm not one of you.
Well, they're saying they're not happy.
Right.
Okay, but does that mean they want to be further left than the Democrats or further right than the Republicans? You're not sending a signal that has a message to it. If people register as libertarians, they're telling both parties that you want less government. Both of you guys want too much government. So registering as a libertarian is a real powerful tool. And, you know, like you just said, Joe, people can vote for whoever they want. But being a registered libertarian has a huge value in sending a signal, and I'm with you. I use that as part of my pitch. When we did the Douglas County Fair last year, we took a laptop with us and we signed up 13 people. They switched their party affiliation right there at the fair. We had a laptop.
They had mentioned the fact that they don't have party membership. We used to, back when I was doing the gun shows. So like I said, it was, if you landed in the Libertarian Quadrant, I tried to get you to register. Once you registered, I tried to get you to join the party. And once you joined the party, I tried to get you to volunteer to come back and help with the next show.
Yeah.
You finally say, leave me alone.
Yeah. Yeah. Norm?
Can you expound a little bit about the nuts and bolts here? Just specifically meetings. I've seen a lot of people come to meetings, and meetings are aggravating over whether we spend $20 on this or not, and stuff like that. Go over the nuts and bolts of what it is that happens in your meetings. Do you have structure?
Okay. I'll give you an example of one of our meetings, the way I like to run the meetings, and Arapahoe's doing it the same way now too. In Denver was when they started, because Victoria followed our blueprint. You get everybody to sit down, and I can tell you that you have to make sure that people understand. We start our meetings at 6 o'clock, but a lot of people come from work and they don't get there till 7. They have to know that the meeting's going to have good content. When you invite them, say, hey, listen, I know you can't get there till 7, or they tell you they can't get there till 7. Say, it doesn't matter. We have people strolling in 7:15. The meetings typically go to 8 or 8:30. So show up whenever you can. Just show up. But when people first come in, obviously we put the sign-up sheet, pass it around the table, make sure that everybody gets signed in. And I make notes. If there's any blanks, I don't bust their chops right then. I'll pin them down afterwards, or I'll ask our secretary to do that. Beatrice is our secretary. But we always have a topic of conversation. So after we do a little bit of small talk, as soon as we have enough people that it's time to get the ball rolling, we'll go into that topic of conversation. And it could be any of a million different things that we could be talking about. I mean, how many of you could pick out a libertarian item that you think other people would find interesting in about 30 seconds?
Intellectual property.
Let's keep one simple enough that people will understand it, Mark. But yeah, that's actually a good one. But when you're going to advertise this, you don't want to advertise something that people are going to say, I don't even know what that means. I don't want to go to that meeting and look like a fool. So you might want to say something like, is your idea your property? Or something like that. You're enticing them to come without intimidating them. So we start talking about it. I'll tell you an example of one we did about 3-4 months ago. You guys remember when Denver outlawed the sale and use of kratom? Well, that was only Denver County. Luckily, it didn't happen in Colorado, but it happened in Denver City and County. Kratom is a wonderful, wonderful medicinal product to help people that have pain problems. I've used it. Karen uses kratom. I know a lot of people that use kratom. It's very effective. It's not addictive, and it's just a wonderful, wonderful product. So we talked about kratom. Should it have been outlawed? That was our headline in our Facebook ad. When we called people, say, hey, we got a great topic. We're going to be talking about kratom. Well, what's that? Oh, you're not familiar with that. You're not going to believe what the government's doing right now. It's a medicinal product that actually helps people that are in pain. It's not addictive, and you don't have to have a prescription for it. Do you think people would like that? Well, yeah, I didn't even know something like that existed. Well, it won't if we don't put a stop to it. We're going to be talking about it at our meeting on Thursday. Will you be there at 6 or 6:30? And pin them down. So when we had the meeting we created, I had an article that was written for fee that had just come out. And it wasn't specific to Denver, but it was national because 23 states have outlawed it, entire states. And so I passed the article out to everybody, and I gave everybody a couple minutes to read that before we got started. And then we started going around the room, talking about what we thought about the article and any questions that they had about it, because I've been doing a lot of research on it for months. But you have to get people involved. You don't want to just talk at them. You want to have them engage with you in whatever the topic of conversation is. And whether it's talking about kratom, or whether it's talking about negative versus positive rights, or whether it's talking about what the libertarian position on the new resolution on something, what that stands for, what it means, how it affects people, doesn't make any difference. But you've got to make it interesting, and you have to involve them in your discussion.
What kind of guest speakers usually work the best?
I've had Mike Stapleton, the legislative director for the state. He comes every year, and we have him come either right before or right during the legislative section, which is in the first 120 days of the year. And he tries to hit as many affiliates as he can during that time frame. When Steve Kerbell was still with us, I had Steve come a couple times and talk about the Stop the Shakedowns movement that he was behind. I had George Teal, who's a town councilman for the town of Castle Rock, come and speak about the new water implementation plan that was being bantered around at the town council meetings. You can have guest speakers of any kind. I've been a guest speaker at many. I've been down to El Paso County twice now. I've been to Arapahoe once. I was out at Arapahoe last week and spoke at their meeting. And we just talked about, frankly, the topic. I said, what do you want me to talk about? Talk about the convention. All right, I'll do that. So I went out and we pitched the convention and sold a couple national memberships. So, those type of things. Norm?
Yeah, I just emphasize the point is that you can't just have a meeting.
Yeah, a social meeting if all you're doing is a social meeting where everybody gets together and just talks about libertarian shit and how are your kids, that's not going to last very long. You have to make it interesting, and you have to make it not only interesting, but fun enough that they're going to want to come back. And so there's a million different things. You can go through our Facebook post for the last 3 years, and we advertise each one of our meetings. See what we've done. See what our topic of conversations are. See who our guest speakers are. Dr. Tom Cranowiter, who's doing a breakout session today at 4:15. I've been a friend of Tom's for years, and I invited him to speak at Douglas County. And what you're going to hear at the breakout session today is similar to what he gave at our meeting in Douglas County.
Do you ever have candidates come
Yeah.
and speak?
Well, only if they're libertarian candidates.
No, yeah, of course.
Okay, we have, now as a social group, you can do whatever you want. Once you're an affiliate, our bylaws, by the way, if you become an affiliate, you have to have platform and bylaws. You have to draft them up. We have examples that you can copy and just sign your name to. But our bylaws say that we can't endorse any candidate that doesn't have an L in front of their name, even if they're libertarian leaning. But that's just Douglas County. That's not a state requirement. John?
You can't endorse them, that doesn't mean you can't listen to them, right?
Oh, absolutely. No,
So they can still get.
yeah, even an affiliate can have somebody come in from a Democrat or a Republican Party if you're so inclined. Yeah.
I've been in libertarian meetings, local affiliates, where we've had state legislators come in and speak.
Sure, you bet. That's a wealth of information. If you have a question about how laws are made, what steps have to be gone through before it can actually make it to the ballot. I mean, they don't have to be a libertarian to give us an education.
But who knows, we might be able to poison their minds too.
It's happened before. Happened to me. I haven't always been a libertarian.
I've had them come to educate us on some of the legislation that they're backing or whatever before the state legislature.
It's happened before, you just listen to her speak, you never learn.
Right.
Our hottest speakers last year came in, and I did it twice. We talked about Bitcoin when the prices started going up like crazy.
Yeah.
And mining cryptocurrency. It's such a libertarian topic, and even they brought in a bunch of Republicans and Democrats too, because
You bet.
everybody wants to make money.
Yeah.
So that was hot. So when the
That's what I
price
was wondering
when the
is-
price
is
goes
what-
back up, I would watch for that.
What
Yeah.
topics appeal to non-libertarians that come to a libertarian meeting?
If you want to get Democrats, have a representative from the pot industry show up. If you want Republicans, get somebody that's going to talk about gun law legislation. You got to play to your crowd. Remember that if you're going to do a Facebook blast, a demographic blast, If you're going to be talking about gun laws, you're not going to want to invite a whole bunch of Democrats. Blast it out to Republicans. That's who's going to be interested in that. Once again, you're trying to get people that are not already libertarians to come and join you. And then maybe you can move them to the dark side. Go ahead.
I was wondering any kind of like strategic differences on like the city affiliates like around here and more rural, because I've been solicited to try and start one out in Park County.
Okay.
We're really like, you know, spread apart, we don't hang out, and not many places to hang out.
Great question. I'm glad you brought that up. If the delegates will vote it in place, one of the bylaws that we change that's going to be presented is the change in the way the affiliates are set up. Right now, all of our affiliates are set up by county. But a lot of counties, like the fellow that you guys saw at the business meeting this morning, the fellow that's blind, Josh Robertson, Josh lives down in Dove Creek, and in his county, in the 2 surrounding counties, there's 37 registered libertarians. He has to reach out further. So he's trying to build a group down there, and he has a core group, but it's small. But he's doing a good job getting the word out. But we're going to open it up to where he could be the Libertarian Party of Southeast Colorado, or Southwest Colorado in your case, Mark, or whatever, west. Burlington, East Colorado. Yeah, Burlington's probably big enough that you could just do Burlington Libertarian Party or your county.
Our county has about 7,000 people.
70,000?
7,000 people in our whole.
Okay, you're probably going to have to go after more than one county then. So if passed by the delegates, that's going to be one of the changes that we're proposing. I think that's going to be a good change. So I really truly believe that's going to be a good one for us. Hope everybody votes for it. David, did you have something to bring up?
I looked at the registered voter database, and there are like 30 or so cities with between 50 and 100 registered libertarians.
Okay, and I'm glad you brought that up because that was my next point.
So I think they're probably big enough that they can maybe start a group.
Mm-hmm. What we did with Douglas County, guys, when we didn't know but maybe 2 libertarians in Douglas County, we got access to the database from National. Now Colorado has access to that. When we started our group, Colorado did not have access to that information. I got a list of all the registered libertarians in Douglas County. I got on the phone and I called every damn one of them. Yeah, it took some time, but I made 5 phone calls a night. Every night. And if you do it in small chunks like that, you're going to get through that list. But I called everybody that we had phone numbers for. If I didn't have a phone number, I had an email address, I'd knock out an email to them. If I didn't have an email address and all I had was a hard address, a physical address, I'd send them a letter on a postcard.
Now, for somebody like me who's not good at cold calling, what was your pitch?
Learn how to cold call. No, I'm teasing. I said learn how to cold call. Hey, I would just say, hey, this is Wayne Harlos with the Douglas County Libertarian Party, and I just thought I'd give you a call and see if you were aware that we're having meetings now. No, I wasn't aware of that. Really? Well, we meet once, 5 minutes? Thanks, Bennett. We meet the first Thursday of every month. We'd love to have you come down. What type of topics would you like to discuss? Fantastic. We typically start at 6. Will you be there at 6 or 6:30? Pin them down. Joe?
To piggyback on that, if you're calling a list of registered libertarians, I would argue that's not cold call.
That's true.
They've already
People
said
have
that
already
they're
registered
interested.
as libertarians.
Yeah.
Now, you get a couple of them who didn't know what a libertarian was and they checked the box, but by and large, most of the people who answer the phone are not going to be
Good point.
put off by the fact that you're calling them, so it makes it that much more comfortable to make a call.
Beautiful. Thank you, Joe. And I got to tell you,
Warm calling.
yeah, it is. I'm a real estate broker. I knock on doors in my neighborhood to find people that want to move. If I have a buyer and I can't find them a piece of property that fits their needs, I'll go out knocking on doors looking for somebody that has a home that might want to sell that.
I got somebody who wants your house, but you know when he wants to move?
Yeah.
That's cold calling.
That's cold calling. But guys, if you have the right attitude, you're never going to get pushback. I've knocked on tens of thousands of doors and made tens and thousands of phone calls in my lifetime. I'm 56 years old. I have never had anybody slam a door in my face, ever. And I hear people say, oh, people are so nasty. No, they're not. You got to smile when they open the door.
Yeah.
They're not. Mark, how many neighborhoods have you canvassed over the years?
Probably 30 precincts total.
Yeah. Thousands and thousands of doors. Now, maybe after they found out who you were, they weren't interested in the Libertarian Party. Maybe they got nasty at that point. But before that, they're fine. Hey, who are you and why are you here?
What do you want to sell?
Yeah, I'm not here to sell you anything. Oh, great. Yeah, why are you here?
That list that the LP of Colorado has for registered, who do we contact that? Same thing, communications director?
Nope, David Atkin. Now, when he gets a request and you're not an actual affiliate, he'll have to get permission from the board or from me to send that information out. I'm pretty easy to get along with on that. As long as you're going to use it, I have no trouble providing that information to you. If you're going to put David through 6 hours worth of work and then sit on it and not do anything with it, then I'm going to have a problem with it. But if you're willing to do something with that information, I'm more than happy to put David to work.
Just don't sell insurance with it, right?
Yeah. Yes.
Do you get that information at the county?
You can. We have it in a much easier database, much more accessible database. We pay for it. The state party pays, what, $4,000 now, Dave, a year for that information?
Information builder,
Yeah,
like that.
yeah. So guys, it used to be that the affiliates had to pay to have access to that database. When I took over as chair, I got that removed. So the county affiliates and development groups or social groups no longer have to pay for that information. You guys is what's going to make the party grow at the grassroots level. You shouldn't have to pay for that.
And this goes back to why we need to make donations.
That's exactly why we're asking for money today, because we're not charging everybody for all these things that other states are. Norm, you had something?
Just a real quick point from somebody who's been doing this for a long time and seen many of them go down the tubes.
Mm-hmm.
But if you do become an affiliate and registered with the Secretary of State, always file your reports on time.
Yes, and
If they're wrong, you don't care.
Right.
File it on time, because that's the one thing the computer can.
And John, those have to be filed every quarter, is it? Is it every quarter?
No, it varies, like, election years is more often. But
Okay.
there's a
Well-
couple of points in the election cycle where it's like 2 weeks apart.
If you become an affiliate, guys, you'll be on a newsletter, and the state party will send out a notification. Affiliates, make sure you get your information filed with the Secretary of State.
Always be on time, even if you know it's wrong.
Yeah,
Don't worry about whether it's right or not, file it on time.
yeah.
You can always
You
file-
generated $13 the last quarter. They're not going to be paying a whole lot of attention to
It's
it.
$50 a day if you're late.
Yeah, you got to be on time. All right, guys, I think we're out of time. We got time maybe for one last question, if anybody has one. I'd be happy to talk one-on-one with any of you if you have any questions that haven't been answered so far here.